Welcome back to the National Hockey Centre in Glasgow. It's a lovely evening. I may well be lying there because the rain is out, but hopefully it will mean we'll have a good game of hockey, a nice water pitch through the natural skies, and it's the second game of the day. It's Scotland against Switzerland in the Hockey World League Round 1. We've already seen Wales defeat Portugal earlier by 4-1. A comprehensive performance in the end from the Welsh. Portugal lost the discipline with a red card as well in the second period, but in the end Wales winning out in that one, and it's this one ahead now, just a few minutes away, 5 minutes or so from kick-off, from the action getting underway. It is this one, Scotland, the home side here, the host side, up against Switzerland. Sides are getting themselves ready to make their way onto the field, and alongside myself, Carl Patterson, is Neil Sturrock, FIH coach, amongst a whole host of other duties he's done throughout his hockey career. Great to have you back. You've had a bit of a breather now, and now it's on to the host side, Scotland. And what do you expect from this side, because it's two good sides here?
It is, Callum, and it's unusual for a host side to play the next ranked team in the first game, especially with two qualifiers. The normal convention would be you'd start with the highest ranked team and work your way to the lowest, in the hope that you've qualified before you play them. But two really good sides, both with homegrown players, or players playing domestically and players playing overseas. The 5 of the Swiss team are from their under-18 squad that played here in the European Youth Championships that you were doing earlier on in the summer, and the new coach, or head coach of the Swiss Federation, Christopher Faust, used to be with the Czech Federation, a German gentleman, a very good reputation. So I expect to see the Swiss come out very strongly. Scotland themselves have had a good build-up over the summer, playing 10 internationals, scoring a barrel load of goals. We've got players playing at home, playing down in England successfully, and a number of them playing abroad as well.
Here come the teams, Scotland in their blue. Of course, we'll have the anthems in just a moment. We'll look through the teams after the anthems in more detail. But it really has, heavens really have opened up here. It's really warm though, it's around about 21 degrees, probably a little bit cooler now as we're into the evening, but certainly was ahead of our first game. But before the anthems, a little presentation here.
First of all, our presentation is to David Forsyth to celebrate his 50th cap.
David Forsyth, 50th cap time, and it's a big moment for him. The 27-year-old, one of a few in this side that were part of the 2040 Commonwealth Games team. Alan Forsyth, 100 caps now. That's amazing. Only 24 years old, and these guys, mid-20s, that's still quite young, and they can rack up the games, can't they?
And nice that the presentation made by Coach Dad, Derek Forsyth, so a bit of a family photograph opportunity there. I'm surprised that Lynn, the mother, didn't just jump over the boundary to go out and manage to make it a full family photo. So good for both the boys. Alan been very successful down in the English League last year, and David playing overseas just now.
Okay, time for the anthems.
Switzerland.
So the two anthems are sung. Let's look at the two teams as the match will be underway in just a moment. Looking at Scotland, well, a few of these players played at the Commonwealth Games in 2014. Likes of David Forsyth and Kenny Bain are scoring machines. William Marshall is an experienced head. He is on the bench. He will, I'm sure, feature with their own subs, but a squad with a plethora of the youth and as well as the experienced heads. Like many of the sides you'll see this week, the Scotland side head coach is Derek Forsyth, who we've just seen a little family photography session on the go. For the Swiss side, well, they are ranked 30th, down from the one a few months back in the last rankings. They're just ahead of Oman, but it is a side that is captained by Patrick Muller, and they will be hoping to get things off to a good start, just behind Scotland in the world rankings. Who's one or two players to pick out for from either side?
I think the Scottish team will be looking for Kenny Bain, who was our first Scottish representative in the Indian Hockey League last year and played along some of the top players in the world over there. Kenny's always a handful up front, and Lee Morton has forced his way into the starting 11, one of the greater talents in the domestic game just now. Obviously Alan Forsyth, playing in Surbiton last year, was top scorer in the English Premiership and also voted English Player of the Year. So a very good strike force, and Scotland have scored 44 goals from their 10 preparation matches. For the Swiss, they've obviously got a number of players. Number 28, Fabian Wilschläger, who played last year with Monkstown in the EHL, and you mentioned Paddy Muller with 50 caps, also Manuel Keller, number 7, who's got 75 caps and was playing with Dusseldorf last year in Germany. With 5 under-18s in their squad, and actually their starting goalkeeper is one of their under-18s who's now just signed for Mannheimer in Germany, so it'll be interesting to see how he copes with the big competition.
Yeah, Jonas Veres just turned 18 in May, as it is the Swiss side in red to get this game underway. The second of the day. We already know the scoreline from earlier. Wales winning 4-1 against Portugal, and we're underway for the second match of the day in this Hockey World League Round 1. Matches all the way through until Sunday. There's a day off on Friday, and the crowd have filtered in even more. The Scottish supporters, the home crowd are in, and if the home side do well, it may well generate a great atmosphere. But these are in theory the two best seeded sides, but on paper, is it 3 from 5 that look like a realistic chance at qualifying? Obviously only 2 spots. Is it between Scotland, Switzerland and Wales?
You would think so on the ranking, Calm. My worry just now is that the consistent rain that we've had over the last wee while might just make the pitch a little bit slippery for people. and so that it gives a little bit of an opportunity for some mistakes. We've seen from the start that the Swiss looking to throw some aerial balls from the back and miss out the midfield totally and get it to their front line, man-to-man mark by the Scotland back line.
Michael Morard, the free hit, found teammate in Keller. Yves Morard is back there with the number 9. Michael Morard is 19. So 2 Morards on the Swiss side. And you see the rain absolutely bucketing down. It was sort of that fine steady rain earlier in the first contest, but now it is chucking it down. At least it's saved a little bit in the sprinklers. Early opportunity here, but it's high and away from Alan Forsyth. Just looking in and around the fringe of the day.
Yeah, umpire changed his mind to a long corner and took a deflection off the shot.
Spin and turn from Cameron Fraser. Found the option in the end. Keeper came out, well out there, did Verset, but nothing comes for Scotland there, but they will get the second goal. David Forsyth. Anderson trying to work his way through. Robust defence from the Swiss, Patrick Müller back there. And there's maybe the first look at the slippery surface, despite trying to keep hold of it. John Hudel lost out.
When there gets a little bit too much water on the surface, it makes it difficult to turn because your studs don't actually grip the grass. It'll be interesting if we see it again when the Swiss set up. They send about 5 players really high, and they play with a back 4 and 2 midfield players in a pocket, and everybody else across the halfway line. And so there's not much of a midfield.
Well, here come the Swiss forward, Martin Greder. Trying to burrow past Scotland players. They do have it still, the Swiss, towards the circle. Back it goes to Müller. Müller tries to send it in. Now maybe a break for Alan Forsyth. And again, look at that. Yves Morard on the floor and didn't quite connect with it, did he? Frustrations there for Lee Morton, because he knew that was a big chance, there was a big space.
Absolutely, good advantage by the umpire. Let the play go on, although it came off a Swiss foot. I think Lee didn't realise how much time he had. He could have taken a touch and had a chance to have a better shot against the keeper. Always difficult to first time it when it's coming past you like that.
Yeah, Morton, the 21-year-old, just sort of came into the Scotland side recently. And here they come again. It's been pretty positive in the last couple of moments. Morton was one of them was waiting again. Here's, well, look at this.
Very difficult to get a sweep on that as it's going past you. Might have been better just to take a touch and have a quality shot.
6 minutes, the rolling changes start to take place. Gordon Moore on for Scotland. Friedrich Heilmann on to for the Swiss. Both sides just trying to find their feet. Pardon any puns out on the surface. Kenny Bain below us, I think he was going off, but he's back on now, just trying to figure out the subs. Both sides making plenty. Back deep with side in red. Yves Morard was across trying to look for the next out ball. Up there with Hillman. Scotland have it back. Marco Michel. Now Scotland have it with Bain trying to work the little gap.
Derek Forsyth asking them to move the ball, not get caught in that deep corner with the Swiss coming and putting 2 or 3 men around them. Get the ball back out before the defence gets across. Great pressure. So allowing the release out to the Swiss left back, but then getting across as he's trying to feed the ball down the line and forcing him into a mistrap.
Scotland trying to up the tempo with Christie and Marshall, and it's found its way through, has it? No.
Yeah, it got through, but a reverse stick of a Swiss defender putting it past his own goalkeeper. A while ago when we were allowed to count that as a goal, but we're back to having to have a forward make contact inside the circle.
Switch around and it's from one end to the other with Nick Schwer.
Great defending by Willie Marshall there, channeling Swiss number 16 Schwer down the left wing and then forcing him to go all the way back to sweeper to make their attack and allowing his teammates to form up for the defence.
Schwer once more was looking to find another red jersey. That was illegal, so they've got the free hit and taken quickly. Fabio Marelli. Muller. Going to Marielli. Marielli with that big black mask on.
Suffered a fractured cheekbone last Saturday. He got hit by a ball, but umpire decided that he was illegally shielding the ball and not letting out. Here's a cross and then a reverse stick of the defender. So the Swiss setting up a half court just now along the halfway line. Scotland just moving them from side to side. Takes quite a lot of energy from the forwards to get back and across, and if Scotland can do this a few times, they'll create the opportunity to go forward but also tire out the Swiss forwards for later on in the game.
Jamie Wong there found Amour. Crossed by Marshall. Flood of blue jerseys getting forwards and towards the D again. Good play by David Forsyth down that far channel. Been a steady start the first 10 minutes. Tricky conditions. Parks with a good ball, trying to turn there with Alan Forsyth.
Great play by Nicky Parks, picked it up and beat one man. Nice release into Alan. Looked as though Alan was trying to find the foot for a corner but didn't quite manage. Again, good concerted pressure by Scotland up round about the Swiss circle. Just need to get some outcome.
Marshall. Flung out wide to the left. They've had a bit of space there in the last couple of minutes. Off a leg. Gordon Moore found support. It's well controlled by Wong. Moore and Wong and stick flying in from Muller. Scotland looking to get on with it. One or two shouts from both sides, but in the end it's the Swiss that to get away with it.
Swiss will have to hurry up and take this, otherwise the umpire might give a foul against them for time wasting. A full 7 or 8 players getting changed at that point.
Huge flood of players.
Scotland need to keep concentrating when that happens.
Swiss, despite the frantic motion of getting players on the field, they've got Michael Morard trying to get forward and didn't find his teammate. They were in a promising position.
So
that was shoulder.
Yep.
Green.
As soon as he stepped across, the Austrian umpire Michael Eimer was never going to let that go. So it's now up to Scotland to take advantage of this. Swiss back into a half court, well behind the halfway line.
Michael Morard green carded down there. Good play this. Scotland with hands up protesting to the umpires. Morton was there. Alan Forsyth. Can they find it? A little space they can. And the big gap was Bain. Did it come through for Bain? Keeper gets in the way.
Great reverse side cross with a deflection from looked like Alan Forsyth into the keeper, but a great reverse stick shot. So the skills now of the hockey players at international level, being able to both sides get the ball across with pace and accuracy.
That was a bit of a test for Jonas Perez, the 18-year-old in the Swiss goal. Again, 1 or 2 half cries of ball hitting a foot, but Alan Forsyth couldn't get to it and the Swiss get it away. Parks trying to find it forward.
Yeah. Good lead coming out with a dummy. So Swiss player running off his foot.
Parks trying to feed it through again. Again, just a little slip. Martin Grieder. Maybe cost them. Anderson and is Fraser going to take it over? Well, yeah, they're not going to get a chance to get it into the deep.
Umpire calling them for third party, saying that they got in the way of the Swiss defender. Scotland just get themselves caught in that bottom right hand corner occasionally without managing to get anything out of it across into the circle.
Florian Keller is looking for Jan Hurdle.
Got to be careful that we don't get ball stolen from us over there, taking it into an area that's difficult for us to build the ball up. Here's Kenny Bain picking it up.
Now a chance for a bit of pace. He just lost it momentarily, but has it back. Swiss defence has caught themselves back, but now supporting Cameron, who feeds it on. And well, they did inject a bit of pace going forward and did cause 1 or 2 little problems.
Yeah, keeper taking a chance and getting right out there, expecting a shot. I think it was Duncan Riddle that was there, managing to block it. well out of his goal.
Marshall back in towards the circle again, and they've got themselves a penalty corner there.
You just hear Derek Forsyth, the Scottish coach, shouting to his players that the ball pace isn't high enough. Because the ball isn't going at the right pace, they're not being able to create the opportunities they would want. First penalty corner, the issue, we've talked about the wet pitch, Callum, is that for the injector, the ball comes out slower, and therefore the guy at the top circle doesn't have the same amount of time to make his decision, get it away. First runner could be a wee bit closer than he would otherwise be, so it's absolutely crucial that Kenny Bain gets this out with a lot of pace.
Jamie Wong is standing waiting, Lee Morton there too. Dan Coultas, part of the 5, David Forsyth as well.
Yeah, Dan, one of our top drag flickers. Willie on the other option.
It is Kenny Bain to inject. And it's cleared away, and they've got another penalty corner.
And good decision on umpires working together with the Welsh umpire Jamie Hooper at the halfway line, calling that off the first runner's leg. I believe that, according to John Hearn, the umpire's manager, that Jamie's done more games in Glasgow this year than many of the Scottish umpires, because he was here for the European Club Championship, he was here for the European Youth, and he's back again.
So take 2 for Scotland, 17.5 minutes left in this first period. Again, it's stopped well, but it's followed up in the end. And Scotland hit the front, and celebrations, it was
Kenny Bain.
well saved, and that scoring machine, Kenny Bain, he likes to score, and he's done so again. He was there at the right time waiting for the ball to pounce him.
Interesting, they changed the Dan Coultas went to the other stopper than he did in the first one, so he had a different angle, changed the angle on the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper could only parry it and put it out to Kenny Bain with a lovely reverse stick into the roof of the net over the diving goalkeeper. So a good start for Scotland. Need to make sure that Scotland need to make sure that they keep this and don't let the Swiss into it quickly, as we saw happened in the Welsh game, where there were chances within the 2 or 3 minutes of the goal going in.
It was a little bit unlucky for Jonas Verest, the young keeper. Just couldn't get it away far enough. And it was Bain to pounce. That's Scottish summer weather you just seen there. It's getting near the end of summer now. Anderson. Lovely space and time for Alan Forsyth. Parks trying to control. And again, Swiss under pressure.
Penalty corner.
Penalty corner.
Ball came up. Again, the Scots are managing to find the ball out to wide areas and then get a player driving into the circle. That ball came up off a Swiss stick, and Michael Eimer, the Austrian umpire, deemed it to be dangerous. So again, we've got the double stick stop set up. Nicky Parks stopping for Dan Coultas at the moment, and we're looking at Willie Marshall, Jamie Wong stopping for Willie. What they did at the first corner was they swapped just before the injector, but this is the formation they scored the second one from.
Got the score again from the corner. Well, still in there. Alan Forsyth across. Did it help the post? It helped something in there. It's still going to be in play, taken quickly by Parks. Alan Forsyth tried to keep it in. Did it stay in? Oh, it's going to be a Swiss ball. We're nice and sheltered up here. It looks rather nice from that picture, but it's
Not so nice from that one.
Not so nice from that one. Exactly. That's why I said earlier in the first game, if you are local, why not come and watch the Scotland side if you're a Swiss national in Glasgow, why not come along, because you would be sheltered in the stand. I did promise you that. But wherever you're watching, great to have you with us on a live coverage. And you can get in touch, remember, through Twitter, hashtag HWL2016, through @ScottishHockey. Forward to Parks. Seeing the space in front for Emery. Parks in a battle, which Patrick Muller wins out on.
Scotland doing well, trying to restrict the Swiss to one side of the park when they start to build up. So that means that the defence can front mark and step in front of the forward and get to the ball first to make a turnover. There's a couple of corners that Dan Coultis has put more or less down the middle. I'll be interested to see whether he manages to change the direction when if they get another one.
Turn away by Alan Forsyth. Moses time and space. Emery in front. Fraser around, also in there Amor.
I'm sure that's not what Derek Forsyth was wanting to do, to try and force it through that first line of the Swiss defence on the top of the circle. Having got the ball out very quickly, that's a great ball.
Here he is, weaving in and out.
Good option here to David Forsyth, and then Jimmy Wong down the right channel if they need to.
Turn away from Fraser. Looking for the hair. Bain's going to flick it across, but it's not come to anything. Did promise you. Stands dry, they're enjoying the action. Scotland in front, 11.5 minutes to the break.
They're probably tweeting us.
Hopefully they are. Marielli below us was making a good run here for the Swiss, but they've went short down this channel. And US Morard now has found Marielli. Morard's got it back, trying to flick his way through three blue bodies.
Great turn, Hamish.
Emery's trying to get away.
Yeah, it was a great turn by Hamish Emery. He managed to pick up the ball and turn, get the defender on his weak side. Willie Marshall will be a wee bit disappointed with his tackle, but he got square on and allowed the Swiss player to get it through his legs.
Coultis. Through the legs by Emery. Still going, it's went through and the keeper didn't cover himself in glory there. Jonas Veres. It's found its way into the back of the goal, and Scotland have got themselves a second.
I think unfortunately for the goalkeeper, the wet pitch took its toll on him there. Normally he probably would have just let it go, but because he wasn't sure of whether it was going away or not, hit the inside of his left foot and rebounded. Good work by Dan Coultis for following up on it, just putting the goalkeeper under a bit of pressure, and his reverse stick just knocking the ball across the line. But here come the Swiss.
In towards the D, trying to work the gap was Hillman. Scotland look to try and get it forward towards Bain. Looking at away from Yves Morard. Bain, was he brought down illegally? Yes, he was. And I think there will be a card out as well. And the Swiss way down to 10 for a period of time. Will it be 2 or 5? It's just the green.
Looks like Patrick Muller.
And it is Patrick Muller, the captain. And now it's looking rather frightening for Switzerland. Coulthus officially with the goal, and it was his finish to make it 2 just a minute or so ago. And now the chance. This penalty corner, and for Kenny Bain.
Yeah, be interesting to see whether they use the other option of Alan Forsyth, having gone to Coulthus in every penalty corner so far. Defence, the way they're running 2-2, it might be that they go to Alan Forsyth.
So it is Bain to inject.
No.
Just about does enough back to Alan Forsyth. Is that dangerous? Umpires say no, and now counter here for the Swiss. Schneider stomps to his left, it's going to go high, it stomps it around, and enough done by Forrester. That's a fast old break.
Good defence by Scotland on the breakout from the attacking penalty corner. 3 guys at the back, slowed the Swiss attack down long enough to allow some of the players that had been involved in the attack back. Well out by David Forrester, and then David Forsyth, composure in the circle to release the pass. It's quite difficult when the pitch is as wet as this to move the ball on your feet. Sometimes you don't just get the turn that you're looking for off the wet turf, and so you lose possession or you lose the control over it.
That's cut out cheaply. Bain did really well, and now it comes back to him. And he's danced his way around here, Bain! It's not going to scramble its way through, is it? Arrested enough.
You can hear the Scottish coach shouting no foul, so that when the players are out and the Swiss have the ball out in that wide position, that the forwards don't dive in and give away free possession. They force the Swiss to build it up.
Marshall did well, found support, he's got himself there just to help it. Morton goes all the way. Greaves is looking for options. Riddle. Coulthus. Come back to Dan Coulthus. Cross by Anderson. Marshall had experience, just back across, and Riddle again. Part of that play. He's going to get it back. Patient.
Scotland coach Derek Forsyth asking the guys to work the ball and make the Swiss forward line work hard.
Back with Jan Hoodle. And in the end they've managed to defend it, as we're just under 6 minutes left. It's had its moments, this context, but Scotland have been clinical in a couple of spells. That's why they are 2 in front. Obviously the slight miscue with the GB scenario over the last competition on 24th. Scotland ranked after the 2012-13 competition. Obviously nowhere near the sharp end for qualification to the World Cup, but we're looking to try very minimum improve on that and wait and see. But also need to get through round one first. Forward again for Fraser. Come through for Forsyth, but didn't quite.
I think what Derek Forsyth will be quite happy with is that with all the substitutions that they're making, they're still managing to keep the momentum, managing to keep the pressure, managing to move the ball quite fluid again in their positional sense as well. Dan Coultis and Willie Marshall, who are normally in the middle, Dan can come out as he was there, out onto the right wing defence and create stuff going down that side.
Said before the year how close the sides were was on paper and ranking Swiss 2 places behind Scotland, 28th or 30th Swiss for 25th in the 14-15 World League. Of course, Scotland were part of the GB side or absorbed in the GB side that were obviously qualifying for the Olympics. They finished 6th ranked in that tournament, but they're comparing it to Scotland of 4 years ago, which obviously can be a bit of a muchness with players in and out, but similar positionings.
I think the one thing about the Scottish team just now, they have a number of under 18 players in the squad, very mobile, and they've also got a number of players who are experiencing it top level in England and also top level in the continent.
Scots looking for a third in the last 3 minutes. Wales already won earlier today by 4-1 against Portugal. That with Marshall and now Amor. Marshall gets it back. Of course, experienced head at 30.
If you look at the Swiss forwards now, they're really tired doing that work across the back. As much as Scotland move the ball around the back four, the Swiss front two are really labouring, trying to be able to cover that. So Scotland find an easy outlet on either wide channel.
And now here come the Swiss. Will they maybe get one back, which would put a cat amongst the pigeons? Trying to spin and turn away. Oh, Schwer. The tactics board out even before half time. Don't know what he's doing with them. Yves Morard to Marielli.
If you're going to play that ball, you've got to play it before the defender coming in can get the stick across. He held on to the ball too long, and it was quite easy for Hamish Emery to then block that channel off.
Down to Jamie Wong.
Nice option from Wong. Willie Marshall had been cut out by the Swiss attackers.
Loads of time here was Duke, but cut out in the end into the final 60 seconds.
Swiss coach pushing his forwards very high, trying to leave one-on-one in the midfield area.
Free hit to side Dada trailing. They've got one last chance in them. Space for Marielli to collect and does. Yves Morard down and slipping the slide to try and keep it in. Into the final 10, and Scotland just going to hold on to the break. Alan Forsyth, he's not going to do anything in the final second, he flips anyway. And at the break then, as we head into the 10 minutes, Scotland, a couple of clinical moments and they've got the 2 goals from it.
Absolutely, and even at the end there with 7 seconds to go, managed to work the ball out to left channel, down the left channel, and Alan Forsyth was actually trying to first time it into the circle for Kenny Bain to try and score with about 3 seconds left, just to kill the half off. So Scotland still trying to go forward and create things. Christopher Faust, the Swiss coach, continually trying to get his team to be a little bit tighter in defence. Feels that they're leaving too many spaces for Scotland to play the ball through. He's not been working with them for very long, but it's a learning phase for them to play the way he would want them to. Lee Morton just going off there. Lee will be a wee bit disappointed he didn't get a shot on target with that chance early on, but I'm sure Scotland will be reasonably happy going in at 2-0 at half time.
Well, let's look at the goals. And there was Bain just in the right position, the right time. Keeper couldn't get it away, and Bain was there to tap in.
Yeah, it's difficult for the player on the right post, because almost he and the goalkeeper get in each other's way there, and the ball drops behind them, and Kenny just takes an edge and gets the ball into the roof of the net away from them.
Actually, the keeper didn't really get a touch at all. I thought the keeper sort of put it onto the defender, but there it looks a bit more conclusive. It came off Michael Moriard, and just a bit of a mess, really.
It's difficult. You need to be clear where your post players are, whether they're going to be in front of you by a long way. And this was a good move, build it up, and then just seemed to deflect off the goalkeeper's left instep. And Dan Coultis had done really well to follow that up. It was a nice build up. We talked about Dan Coultis as a centre back, but that shows you the fluidity of the Scotland formation, that the guy who's playing centre back finds himself up there in front of in the circle, in the front line, and puts pressure on the goalkeeper. Well, we see here how it comes through. Oh, he tries to kick it with his right foot, but it bobbles as he kicks it, comes off his left heel behind him. So just didn't quite get the technique right on his kick, and caused him to lose control. Ball rebounded behind him. Once it's behind you as a goalkeeper, very difficult for you to be able to save from there.
Okay then, so that is the state of play at the moment. Scotland with advantage, and we'll be back shortly for the second half. Welcome back to the National Hockey Centre in Glasgow. Second half coverage to come in the next 90 seconds or so. We should be back underway. Scotland 2, Switzerland 0 in the Men's Hockey World League Round 1. And it is a week's worth of great hockey through till Sunday. There's a day off on Friday. And remember, you can join the conversation at Scottish Hockey, and you can use the hashtag HWL2016. One or two, a point that was made in the first period that Neil, who's alongside myself, Callum, in the commentary talks about the umpire Jamie Hooper. Duncan is on Twitter that Jamie Hooper will have a good Scottish accent the amount he's been umpiring up here this year. Probably will by now if he's been here a lot this year. Amy Gibson has also said good luck to the Blue Sticks. Well, the luck's certainly working out because it's 2-0 at the half-time break.
Nice to hear from Amy, who was one of the GB ladies. She's been training down there, one of the 31. And so, nice to hear from you, Amy. Hope you're well.
Yeah, getting in a bit of the sport. Is there any effect? Obviously, the GB women's team did really well, got gold. Obviously, the men's team had a moderate success. Never, obviously, had any Scottish players in there. But can any of this filter through with some of these players playing down south and what have you?
I think what we'll be looking for, I think all the national teams from the home countries will get a debrief from both coaches, from Danny Kelly and Bobby Crutchley, over the next number of months to be able to see what the lessons are from the performances in the Olympics. I think the girls obviously were excellent, and a lot of people. It's interesting to see that Nasser Hussain had made Richardson Walsh one of his top players, top 10 players in the world. So hockey has become prominent in a lot of different areas now.
It's great to see. Thankfully, unlike the athletics, you don't get disqualified for a jump start, because Scotland did that to get things going for the second, but we well underway, and they do have the cushion. And we were saying just off air at half time, if this is the best Swiss have got to give us, they've been a bit disappointing this first half. Maybe the weather's complete its part, but if they have the threat of maybe turning things up a little bit, up in a couple of gears, this is still dangerous for Scotland.
I haven't had a chance to speak to Chris Faust to understand what he's trying to build here, but the Swiss, when they have the ball in their defence, have a back four and one, maybe two midfield players in their own half, and the rest of the players are 30 yards away. And so it's as though they're just going to throw an aerial ball or a crash ball, so that there's almost two games going on. There's one in defence and there's one up the other end, and they're just going to try and get the ball from one to the other. Now, whether that's because they think the Scotland have the advantage in the midfield area because of their fitness and their skill level, I'm not quite sure. But certainly the Swiss haven't built up any moves of any note. And as you and I were saying off air, when we watched the Portuguese against Wales,
there's a chance, just trying to work the spaces. Morton, it's coming off something there, one or two cries for off a leg. I thought it did come off a leg, but certainly down on the sidelines, not too happy Derek Forsyth.
Yeah, Lee Morton looking to claim it was a penalty corner. But no, we picked out a couple of the Portuguese, David Franco and Miguel Rodrigues, who were performing really well for Portugal, even although they were under a lot of pressure. Apart from a couple of the defenders who are moving the ball around at the back, nobody in the Swiss team has really shown that level of ability. And there's another aerial ball by the Swiss, straight onto a Scottish stick.
It's just not came to anything really. Yves Morard was trying to help out and try and get it away, and from that Scotland get it back, and the Swiss really aren't doing themselves many favours, but they do have it now to try and get themselves away. Long by Duke. And he's got it back. Spotted Coultis. Going along, had plenty of time to pick out that pass, and Forsyth, David Forsyth that is, making the run, cut out, not for long. Well in was Parks. Bain scored in that first period, skillful in the second period, and that's going to be set up superbly for Alan Forsyth, and that was superbly worked.
What a great goal. Nicky Parks originally doing some good work on the right hand side. Kenny Bain reclaiming the ball and getting a reverse stick hit through into the circle, deflection. So Kenny Bain throwing it there, reverse stick hit, Paddy Christie knocking it through, and Alan Forsyth taking a volley and knocking it past the keeper. Well worked goal. First 5 minutes of the half. Again, we talked earlier on about goals getting scored within 5 minutes of a start and a restart, and within 5 minutes of a goal going in.
Well, officially they've given it to Kenny Bain, but surely Alan Forsyth got enough of a touch in the end of it, but it's an interesting one.
I'm not sure how they could give it to Kenny when Kenny was the one that crossed it from the 23 metre line. I think that one might be changed.
No, we'll give it to Forsyth for the moment, but officially it is a Kenny Bain goal, but surely that'll have to get itself sorted out. Forward from Will Schlegger. There's the Zorro mask of Fabio Morelli. Now Bain. Stopped in his tracks, coming together with Fabio Volschläger.
Yeah, I made that look accidental. Otherwise he might have been sitting down for a couple of minutes. But that's a disappointing. I mean, Fabian's 140 caps, played at a really good level, and he really hasn't shown his class yet today.
And we did say early on this may well be a three-team shootout for the two spots. If you look at it on paper and rankings, the Wales will be watching and thinking, okay then, the Swiss may well be beatable, as that goes flying out the hands of Jan Hoodle. Umpires in there.
Yeah, the Swiss defender complaining that it was off his hand, but in fact Frederick Hillman, but the umpire giving it for the initial tackle.
And Jamie Hooper, who mentioned the Welsh umpire alongside Michael Ilmer, the Austrian. Bain trying to put on the pressure. It was always happening. Now he's went down there, his heart. And you just seen that was happening about 10 seconds where it did. Bain was waiting to pounce, but he's taken a sore one.
I think as the defender was trying to release the ball, his stick will come through and will just catch Bain on the knee, and that can be a sore one. It can just be around about the patella tendon.
Certainly
It was good pressure. Not too happy.
No, at least he's hobbling. I'm sure he may well be able to get himself off and just shugle it off. Forsyth is coming on. There'll be a whole host of subs anyway. Both sides taking the opportunity as the home crowd are enjoying the scoreline. Now the turn round, Anderson found Christie He did really well.
Good play by Christie, just taking the possession, taking the foul, and letting Scotland set up again. That's another aerial ball from the Swiss, and they don't seem to be doing an awful lot other than throwing the ball 20-30 yards, hopeful for a one-on-one for their forward to be able to go against one of the defence. Scotland have gone to 3 at the back to try and give some free space.
Sticks clattering galore. There is Bain down there, looks okay. Now the turn away from Christie. Was he fouled? Advantage is played. Duke had support. Oh, and almost lifted into a good spot. Similar to the third goal, it was just a wee injection of pace, almost worked out for Scotland.
And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to move the ball with reasonable pace and move the team around. But when you see the opportunity and you see the option, then you go at it even quicker. So the defenders are used to moving at a certain pace, and then when you inject a little bit more, then you actually get the ball through and penetrate into more dangerous areas.
In the side trail, and they've put themselves under a bit of pressure.
Good work there by Hamish Imrie, trying to force the Swiss team to attack down the Scotland right hand side, and eventually running it off the Manuel Keller running it off the sideline.
Well, these sides know each other well from the Euro Hockey Nations Cup. The Swiss came up into the second tier with Scotland, but they've finished 7th last year, so heading back down to the third tier after getting themselves up. Scotland finished in bronze. That's 3 the number for Scotland on the scoreboard. That's cut out, and now maybe a chance trying to make the forward run is Beno Vaishoda. Here he is. Sport in there from Schwer in the day. But 1 red jersey among 5 or 6 blue coming back. It was only 1 contest that was going to be won.
And well tackled and well read by Willie Marshall. Read it well, saw what the Swiss forwards were likely to do, and knocked the ball to one of his colleagues.
Keller looking for the gap. Muller.
Kenny Bain back on here.
Big presence down there. Marshall out. David Forsyth doing well. Done toying them out.
Scotland just need to be careful they don't get into what we call ping pong here. Run up one side, lose the ball, they run up the other end, and the other team lose it. And they're at their best when they just keep possession, move the ball around for a while, in and out of midfield, until the Swiss don't manage to cover. So you've got David Forsyth wide on the left here. Players coming to make the lead.
Anderson. This went against them. And
I saw him feeling a little bit aggrieved there because he felt that he'd been fouled before he stood on the ball. But Lee Morton doing good defensive work there. And there we see the formation from the Swiss, fairly tight in the middle. Not an awful lot in the outsides apart from the wing backs.
Surprised there's not some big arrows towards the goal. It's not looking too good for the Swiss tonight. And that's lovely skill, lovely play. Morton, keeper came out. Chance for Fraser, and the rest was back in position.
I think Lee just took the wrong option there. He when he got into the circle, he either had to shoot right away before the keeper came out, or if the keeper was coming out to him, just take it another step and change the angle. As it was, he shot as the keeper came out, and the keeper did well, made himself big. But Lee's one of the most talented players we've got in domestic games just now, and I'm sure he's going to score a few goals during the tournament.
David Forsyth. Parks losing out. Forward comes Hoodle. In the end, just hounded out too easily. Alan Forsyth in space for Cameron Fraser. Dangerous.
Yeah, I just need to try and get that reverse stick hit a bit flatter, so that the guys at the back post can get hold of it.
Well, this Swiss side, they've got if there's going to be a defeat, they've got themselves the early game tomorrow, 5 o'clock against Portugal, and as we mentioned at half time, Portugal had a couple of players that we thought had a bit of fight and drive to pull their team out the fire possibly if they needed anything, and they've got the goal back, and so it's a big turnaround, and it's a big game for Switzerland who, as we mentioned, on paper were one of the sides very much looking to get out of this group.
Good aerial ball.
Muller right across the area and just couldn't quite find Greda.
And that's what you've got to be a little bit careful of, that no matter how dominant one team is, the other side are going to have opportunities. Again, it was, as we've talked about a number of times, throwing an aerial ball over the Scotland midfield that created the opportunity. Scotland are doing well passing the ball around.
Oh, that was neat from Bain. Christie. Oh, I thought I was waiting for it to bounce into the back of the goal there.
Yeah.
Bain had a wry grin.
Yeah, it was a good ball by Patch, by Paddy Christie, and Cammy Fraser just in front of the goalkeeper making the deflection, but angle just a little bit too much, went past. Actually, goalkeeper was outside the post. But again, another reasonable scoring opportunity from Scotland, and they're continuing to create good opportunities.
Fraser's had a good game, certainly really upped it in the second period. Him and Bain were in the right position. But it remains at 3 with 20 to play in this second period.
It's absolutely critical that Scotland keep ball pace up, and with the pitch getting wetter by the minute, it's actually quite physically demanding to keep pace on the ball. The sweep and the hit that they're having to do generates through whole body action, and it's not just the running, but it's being able to. That's a great ball from Dan Coultis. Oh, that was unlucky. Jamie Wong had made a really good run down the right line.
Now here's Martin Greda. Keller waiting. So Schneider.
Good block by David Forrester on the defence on that near post.
Here's Morard. Bring it quickly back to Muller. Still with the Swiss.
So umpires
Change their mind.
Communication.
Yeah.
Jamie Hooper giving feedback to McLaren that it had come off a Swiss stick, so Scotland 16 and the Swiss drop off to half court. You were talking about the Portuguese against the Swiss. What you need to remember is that it's unlikely that the Portuguese will put the Swiss under the same amount of pressure as Scotland are at the moment, and therefore the Swiss players will have a little bit more time to make decisions and build the ball up. So whilst you're absolutely right that there were a couple of the Portuguese players who had super skills, tomorrow's result will be an interesting game. Two different styles certainly, and it'll be interesting to see whether the Swiss continue with their aerial route to try and get from their back four to their forward line.
Miller stomps. I think both sides were trying to claim that one.
Yeah, well in by Duncan Riddle, good tackle, got his stick caught as he went through, and Willie Marshall just relieves the pressure. Alan Forsyth a bit disappointed there because he looked at Patrick Christie thinking he was going to try and go for the ball and stop it going over the end line. Patrick looked at Alan and they both stopped.
Feller. Miller. Another aerial ball which is just going to get left by Anderson.
Scotland sank back to half court there when the Swiss had the ball. Leaves slightly less space for them to play their aerial balls into, and allows a bit more cover.
Amor. Parks right to leave it, and high ball Amor's leaping Salmon S to try and get that without much luck.
Yeah, I don't think Gordon Amor read what Dan Coultis was looking for. He was expecting just to step up a little bit, so a bit of miscommunication. Hamish Imrie keeping the Swiss ball on the Scotland right, so they have to play down that channel, and then Scotland step in and make the interception. Good skill by Callum Duke. More skill than his dad's got anyway. Sorry, Jeff. Product of the Hillhead Club.
This Coultis again quietly got him along with his business, and now Wong keeps it in, trying to get away from Feller. Wong carries on, almost put it back.
It's a great drop ball, Callum. Coaches talk about to players, when you drop it straight back. That means that it's very difficult to be intercepted by the defender because the stick is normally in an angle, and if you drop it straight back down the pitch, then you should have a player there. Nicky Parks had overrun it just a little bit, but a super drop ball.
So it's just competition over various parts of the world through this phase, and then you get through all the phases to the main qualifiers. Of course, in 2014-15, Australia won against Belgium, and the final phase, Scotland were absorbed as the GB side for that phase for the Olympics for qualifications. And obviously, we talked about earlier in the second half, the women's side did really well, which was great to see.
And Scotland, these teams here are playing for the second league in Dublin. It'll be an 8-team competition with Ireland, Poland and France already there because of their world ranking. I think Belarus and Italy have qualified already from the World League One in the Czech Republic last week. And there'll be 2 qualifiers from here and 1 qualifier from Turkey, which will likely be Austria. So Scotland have already played Poland and France over the summer and equipped themselves quite well, and they've beaten Italy. So if they can get through this competition, then there's no reason why they can't make a good fist of it when they get to Dublin.
Skills and space for Amor. Quite the turn for Alan Forsyth. Here is Said Forsyth, trying to get on with it quickly. It's still with Scotland and taken quickly by Wong. Alan Forsyth again. Fraser back with Forsyth. David Forsyth this time, and that's been spilled by Parks. And now it's Vaishoda. Tried to just stop and control and try and get the pass away. Didn't do so.
Good channeling from Marshall.
Moore and Bain spotted the run. Bain into the day. Oh, and off a stick and penalty corner. That was always coming.
Good lead by Bain, driving down the outside channel, cutting inside, getting into the circle, trying to get a shot off quickly, but a stick check. So as he goes here, left inside, and he just goes for a stick, a shot, and gets a stick check. Looks like Paddy Muller stick checks that. So Scotland have I think first penalty corner in the second half, is it, Colin?
Yeah, that'll be right. And I really did like the run Bain was making. You could see what he was trying to do, and it was well spotted, and it put the Swiss under pressure because they didn't see it at all.
He's a very direct runner, and his ability is reason why he was picked as the first Scottish player in the Indian Hockey League. So Kenny Bain will inject.
Well, he was provided for the first goal and turned up being the scorer as well, the way it bounced about.
Coulter off, so it may be a second cannon to Marshall.
Again, the keeper as well, Varese. Flicked back, and it got a touch on the way through, it did. And it was fed back in there by David Forsyth.
Looks like Hamish Emery got that one.
Emery certainly taking plenty of the plaudits in there.
Again, drag flick, good save by the keeper. But Scotland working very hard on the rebound to get the ball back in play. Chasing the ball outside the circle, so keeper saves it well. Goes out to the right. Ball is swept across, and Emery gets in with an open face stick to deflect it above the keeper.
So it's the Fab Four for Scotland now with 10 minutes to play.
Derek Forsyth will be wanting Scotland to keep. Oh, the great steal there by Fraser.
And yes, and there is the push, and it will be a stroke and a yellow card shown, and that was all down to their own unravelling defence.
Good pressure by Scotland. That's what the coach Derek Forsyth is trying to maintain, so that the Swiss are always under pressure when they're receiving the ball. The dampness of the pitch doesn't help when you're a defender and somebody's close to you, because it takes longer for you to get the ball under control and move out your feet.
Yves Morard off, and there is number 5, famous 5, high fives, and it is Alan Forsyth. And the Swiss really have melted in the second period like a good chocolate, and it really was of their own doing. Down to 10 for the final, well, for the last few minutes, for the next few minutes I should say.
Interesting if you watch the Swiss keeper there, he's bouncing from one foot to the other as the striker gets ready to take it, and it means he's not balanced, he's limited in what he can actually do, so makes it very difficult to make a good save.
There is Yves Morard, 5 minutes off. And Forsyth, it has been officially caught up, but he has now got 2 goals. He's got rid of the one that they were given to Bain, so that's good. So Forsyth with 2, Coultas with one in there. Bain and Emery.
Great tackling by Cammy Fraser, not letting the Swiss midfielder pick up the ball with any time. What that forces the player to do is to play it back towards his own goal, so they can't turn and attack the space that any of the Scottish defence is leaving. So it needs to go back, and it takes longer to attack.
Just by Marielli. Schlegel tried to play it across. We're talking about definitely, I think they're definitely looking forward to the first game tomorrow with the Swiss and the Portuguese, because the Swiss might get more possession and chances, but they certainly have had a big one tonight, defeat-wise.
Yeah, I think the Swiss will have a different game plan tomorrow. I think they've set something up to play against Scotland, probably having seen some of the way that Scotland play. Scotland got a very fit and quick side just now, and whilst as a coach you would want them to keep the same intensity going, you also wouldn't want to get anybody injured. The game is now over as a contest. You obviously want to try and keep the clean sheet. That's always good for morale and give people court time, but it's a 4-game tournament. Again, Nick Schwer going out there for Switzerland, trying to control the ball, but the Scottish player was right beside him. His stick was what we call in his face, in his field of vision, so he had nowhere to go, and mistrapped the ball.
Forward from Marshall, intercepted, and Martin Grader now spotted the gap of Muller, captain, looking to get at least one.
Great defending by Russell Anderson, good control, finding Hamish Emery and bringing the ball
partial away anyway. They've got it again now, though, and now trying to make the forward run, also looking for a hat-trick. Alan Forsyth, if he gets a sniff.
Even when Scotland turn the ball over like that in that area, they've got a lot of players around it, work hard to get it back very quickly. And if you look at good football teams like Barcelona and things like that, they work very, very hard as soon as they turn the ball over to get possession back right away. It's no different in here. The longer you have to take to get the ball back, the further you have to run.
Good comparison, comparing them with the Barcelona football team. Forsyth tried his best. Get it back. Morton is there. Here is Forsyth. Looking to find the space. Looking for the hat trick, isn't he?
Yeah, and in a situation like that, as a coach, you just be looking for him to get the corner. As soon as you go away from an area that's easy to shoot from, just take the corner. Good break down the other side now, down the right hand side. Coultas.
Again, Swiss flood the knee to defend. He's a bit short to try and counter, but good stuff from Bill Schleyer. That was Phelan rather.
Umpire calling Marshall for the back stick rather than the edge because his hand wasn't quite low enough.
stomps.
Great man-to-man marking there by Duncan Riddle. Not giving the Swiss player any space to control the ball.
Marshall across and try and get it further forward. It's been a strange game where Scotland have played well and they've been the better team, and it's not quite had the fireworks, but they've been clinical when they've had to be, and they've got the job done, and not quite really at top gear.
I think because of the defensive work that they've done and where they've forced Switzerland to play, it's allowed them to get the goals and score and do what they need to do without having to be too exciting. The way that I was describing the game earlier, it's almost as if there's two games. There's one round about the Swiss 23, and there's one if it gets up to the Scotland 23. Scotland have players in between, but the Swiss don't.
Bain look to get to Wong. Fraser gets it back from Emery. Well, in was Yves Morard.
And you hear the call from the bench of build it, so take the ball back, use the platform, find an opportunity to go forward.
Now space for Nick Schwer. Hillman in front to support. And it looked like that was always going to come. And maybe there'll be a card as well. Penalty corner.
Yeah, it looks as though it might be Gordon Hammer picking up a card for the tackle there.
It's a yellow, but it won't mean too much because there's only just over 90 seconds left. It is the pretty distinguished locks, very distinguished blonde locks of Gordon Hammer.
So two drag flickers for Switzerland, Martin Greder and Nick Schwer, 27 and number 16. From what I've been told, Greder is the first priority, and he's on the right hand side of the circle. Nick Schwer, I think, is one of their younger players. I think he was with the under 18s in the youth championship, and he's on the left, the top of the circle. So Scotland players just getting their protective equipment on.
Certainly taking the time about it. There's usually a limit, of course, but get themselves ready eventually, and it is going to be Manuel Keller to inject. It's going to be cleared away in the end, and made himself big, David Forrester.
Good work by Willie Marshall in behind David, getting control of the ball. A good option from the Swiss. Switched corner from the number 1 drag flicker to the number 2 to Nick Schwer. Changes the angle, and Willie Marshall, number 14, on the post beside the keeper, managing to get control and release the ball.
60 seconds left.
Good turn out by Callum Duke. Out to Jimmy Wong.
Duke was shouting for it down this near side below us and gets on with it. Oof! Could have taken the head off Frederick Hillman.
Didn't manage to quite get his feet round to keep the ball flat along the ground. Scotland just need to see this out for 30 seconds.
It's not bad trying to see it at 5-0, but obviously clean sheet and all that. Hillman looking to get on with it quickly. Out again comes Forrester. And they've got the penalty corner, and this will be the last act.
Yeah, so the ball has to go over the end line or come outside 5 metres of the circle, or for the play to finish.
So for Scotland, it's all about just ensuring that they keep the clean sheet. They've got the 3 points, they've got the 5 goals. That's all just about a little bit of consolation for the Swiss.
And this is where, if this was the last game and you were already through, you wouldn't bother putting anybody on the line because you don't need them to get injured. But when the goal difference might count, the Scotland team need to defend this as though it was 0-0, because at the end of the tournament on Sunday, that goal might be important.
Absolutely. Final act to the game for Manuel Keller. Ricocheting about again from Grader's efforts.
Amazing save there from David Forrester. A great option from the Swiss, where they came in from the right hand side and switched it outside the left hand post for a player coming in with an angled stick to lift it over the goalkeeper. But David Forrester making himself huge on that and managing to deflect it out of the circle at the end of the game. Great result for the Scotland team and their staff. We'll see where Switzerland go from there, and how Christopher Faust and Paul Schneider and the Swiss staff get the team back on track for their game tomorrow.
Yep, 5 goals for Scotland. Kenny Bain got things going. The penalty corner was just waiting around to tuck it in. Dan Coultis made it 2. Then in the second period, Alan Forsyth got a couple, with Hamish Emery getting one in the middle of that. So their confirmation, 5-0 Scotland have won. Earlier Wales won by 4-1 against a Portuguese side that worked hard to the end. And as we've been talking about, it could be really interesting to see how Portugal, who do have 1 or 2 players that really played really well despite losing to Wales against a Swiss side who will play differently but will have to bounce back from a heavy defeat against the Scots. But there's handshakes all round. Remember, you can get in touch with us tonight or throughout the week. Remember, the hashtag is HWL2016. At Scottish Hockey is the handle. At Scottish Hockey, hashtag HWL2016 is the place to get in touch tonight and through the week. Scotland 5, Switzerland 0 then. Let's see some of the best of this
That was a goalkeeper's error, and Dan Coultis getting in with the reverse stick.
That was the second goal before half time.
And then Kenny Bain coming through, reverse stick hit. Patrick Christie lifting it, and Alan Forsyth managing to volley it on his forehand past the goalkeeper. Well worked move, great reverse stick hit by Bain, and nice action.
That was the third goal. That's the one from the first half. That's the first goal. So we're getting 3 of the goals. That was the first one that got things going from Bain. So that's you've seen the goals from the first 3 of the match, and then obviously there was 2 goals in quick succession in the 59th and 60th minute, which just put extra gloss on that scoreboard.
Yeah, good start. If you were coaching Scotland, you'd be very happy with that. 5 goals in the plus column. Here's the one from Hamish Emery. Ball fired across, diving in with reverse stick, just angling it into the air. You see it again. So a sweep from, I think, Forsyth, and then Emery just lifting it over the prone goalkeeper. And the final one was a stroke. Goalkeeper looked as though he knew it was going there, but went with his legs first, and wasn't going to get down into the corner in time. So overall, a fairly comprehensive victory for Scotland. As you say, the Swiss looking a very disappointed side. Obviously they think there's a lot more to come from them, and so tomorrow's game against Portugal will be an interesting one.
Absolutely, and obviously we'll see Slovakia tomorrow. So give us your overall, just a quick summary of your thoughts on the two games you've seen and what lies ahead tomorrow.
Well, saw Slovakia last night play against the Hillhead club, and whilst their exposure to international hockey is not probably as strong as most of the other clubs here, they worked very hard, and they've got one or two players who have good skills and can do good things. From what we've seen today, I think Scotland and Wales have shown that they are looking for the two positions in the Hockey World League 2 in Dublin. Switzerland, if they're going to try to get the second place, are going to have to improve and win the rest of their games. Scotland have Slovakia tomorrow, and so they just need to keep winning. If they can beat Slovakia and then Portugal, by the time they play Wales, they should have enough points to already have qualified. What I don't know, Callum, is that whether the first and second qualifiers are ranked in the next round, and if they are, then you still want to finish first because you might have a better draw.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fascinating. Obviously Switzerland, as we said on paper, were the side that could well be in that mix. We'll see how they bounce back. Neil, it's been great to get your thoughts, and you'll be here with us tomorrow, so looking forward to it.
And me, thanks very much, Callum.
Thank you very much, Neil. Thank you very much for joining our coverage. The rain continues down. We'll go for some kip, and we'll be back tomorrow with the action from 5 o'clock. Portugal against Switzerland, and it's Scotland against Slovakia. Do join us from that, but the headline from day one